No problem. All right, you ready?
I was born ready for this, Jackson.
All right, I'll count us in.
To tell Australia that their hopes in the group of death are bad. I'm born ready for this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a while. I'm your host, Jackson. I'm joined by my co-host, Redmayne. Just out of the way, Matt. Just said. Oh my God, we've got him perfectly. Today, me, Matt, and Redmayne are going to be discussing Australia's. How would you describe it, Matt? You know, good day in the office for Australia. Win against Peru.
Well, it was a good day in the office. I know many people counted them out, especially me. I did count them out. I did say Peru was going to win. I'm open to admit it. I did say Peru was going to win because if you look back at 2018 World Cup, Peru did beat them 2-0 in the group stages. So I did say that Peru was going to take it over Australia. And yeah, Australia surprised me with a penalty shootout win by a save from this man here. Yeah.
It's got to be remembered, though, and I think you got to think about two things, right? You got to think about in that game we lost against Peru, we actually wasted a lot of chances. For large stretches of the game, it looked like we were going to score, and we just couldn't put it away.
Oh, for sure.
And two, this is a worse Brazil side than they were in 2018. I looked at the squad, and players just weren't up to task. I think their best players are like from Serie B. Like there's just not a very strong squad there. And yet for some reason you had football pundits in Peru making fun of us. They thought they were going to, outrageous, absolutely outrageous.
They were counting Australia out before the game even started.
We think of Australia as a simple team, like you dogs.
But the thing is, that's what happens to Australia in every type of soccer event.
Yeah.
Every single time they get counted out before they actually get into play. Like, they surprise people like, 2006 World Cup. I mean, my heart's of Italy and nearly ended up winning that World Cup, beat Australia, knocked him out. But Australia made it pretty far in that World Cup. I mean, the last, 3 World Cups, they've been in groups of deaths. So, yeah, they're always counted out, but they always put on a good effort. And that's the Australian way. You get in, give it a go.
I mean, to be fair, we basically counted ourselves out by throwing away automatic qualification, but that's a different issue.
They do that all the time, please. If they stayed in the Oceania region rather than moving to the Asian region, they would have qualified easily. Like they only had to compete with New Zealand. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone wants to see the definition of depression, you can look at our video on Japan versus Australia during that qualification catastrophe. I wouldn't recommend it to the one trying to have a good day, but it might be entertaining for you. With that being said, you mentioned a group of death there, Matt.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen our group for the World Cup in this coming November. Would you consider that a group of death? For Australia, at least.
I wouldn't consider it a group of death, but I would consider it. I wouldn't give them the highest odds to get out of the World Cup. I mean, out of a group stage, because you've got Australia in there, you've got France, who are the previous World Cup winners, you've got Denmark, and you have Tunisia, I believe it is as well.
Yeah.
So
don't dog Denmark. Semi-finalists.
Oh yeah, Denmark are they'll be very surprising. A lot of people will count them out. They're a small country in the Scandinavian region. But, the Denmark produce some quality players and they always come to play. And France, even though that there's the World Cup winners curse going around, the World Cup winners that win from the previous year get knocked down the group stage of the year after. I don't think it happens with this French team.
But why wouldn't it happen it's got to be remembered that this is a very different French side. Griezmann isn't here. Pogba's not here. Kante isn't going to be in there. Like, it's a very different France side.
Don't forget Kurt Zuma's not going to be there.
Kurt Zuma's not. Like, Dimitri Payet's done. Like, there's a lot of players from that French team. Like, Giroud is not going to be the player he is for that team. So you can see that this is a very different team. It's entirely possible that this team just doesn't gel together as a relatively new team.
It's also true, but they also have a variety of young talent that's been that's been sitting in the second string for last year's World Cup and all the other stuff, and they were starting to get their chance in the European qualifiers and stuff like that in the Euros. I mean, Mbappe missed the penalty to knock them out of the Euros, but they still went decently far in the Euros, and I think just the way that they perform there and the way that some of their players are performing individually, I think they can definitely beat Tunisia. They'll put up a show against Denmark and Australia. I don't know. It was a tight game against Australia in the last World Cup, because if you remember, we had France in the group stage of the last World Cup as well, and we lost 2-1 to France. Yeah, I think it was a poor Pogba. It was a deflection off one of his shots that sealed the game for France as well. And we arguably have a better Australian side at the moment, but then again,
arguably.
The French side, some of the young players that are coming up, Kylian Mbappe, some of the others. I don't know if Ousmane Dembele is going to be playing. Might be injured still.
Highly questionable. On form, he shouldn't. But I mean, remembering that 2018, is this an easier group than 2018? Then
I'm just trying to remember who was in our group.
Peru, Denmark, and France.
Yeah. No.
No, you think this is?
France.
It's basically whether you think. Do you think that we can get the 3 points against Tunisia that we couldn't get against Peru? Basically,
the thing is, I don't know. I don't know too much about Tunisia. That's the thing. So I can't speculate. But look, I thought we could get a win against Peru in the last World Cup, and you saw how that went. But
I think it's. The way I'd think about it is that this group is probably more difficult. I mean, we've talked about France, but you still expect us to lose against France. You should. Even if they're a different team and they might not be as good, they probably will get knocked out early on.
See, they might
will still lose.
They might not be as good as last World Cup, but I would argue that Denmark is better than what they were last World Cup.
Well, exactly. That's the other point, in that this is a better Denmark team than 2018. And so in that case, we basically need the results that we were hoping for in 2018. We need a draw against Denmark and a win against Peru/Tunisia. We didn't get that win. We got the draw against Denmark, but didn't get that win against Peru. This time, I don't see us getting the draw against Denmark. And I could maybe I think there's a bigger chance of us beating Tunisia, though.
Yeah, could get 3 points against Tunisia, but a draw against Denmark, I'm not quite too sure.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then we won't qualify. Which is how that'll go. We'll finish third, which would be better than last time. But I feel Australia should aim higher. You should still. You should never expect or aim for third in a World Cup group. That's just not good enough. We should be trying to find the way to qualify out of this group.
Well, I'll be happy if Australia can actually score a goal in outfield play in the World Cup. I mean,
we didn't last time.
last time, I think it was throughout the whole World Cup and the lead up to qualify for the World Cup. It was only Jedinak that could score penalties. We did not score any outfield play goals from memory. I don't remember it.
Blast from the past, Jedinak. God, he was retired from Aston Villa around that time and called it a day.
I believe so. Yeah.
So he won't be here to save us though. So we'll see.
But who will save us? Though? That's the question. Shall we dive into that? Who might be here to save us, or should we leave that to the end, Jackson?
I mean, if we're looking at who in this Australia team, do you believe there will be standout performers? Last season,
No.
last World Cup, I mean, but it's interesting in that when a team like Australia goes to the World Cup, if we're not going to get out of the group, then there's just no players are going to stand out. I mean, last World Cup, I can't think of a single Australian player who commended themselves. Jedinak, you can say, but his just responsibility is to score penalties, and he did it. So you can't call that standout.
The days of the Timmy Cahills and
exactly.
The Dukas and all that, they're all the days of them are gone. The days of Timmy Cahill with wonder strikes at the back of the post against the Netherlands, I believe it was, in the 2010 World Cup. Those days are gone.
Yeah, I just can't think of any player that's actually going to give us a moment in this World Cup. I would like to think, we'd have someone who could step up when the time is needed, but that Japan game especially doesn't fill you with hope. And even though we beat Peru, we weren't really good. We weren't really good enough.
So I got another question to pose to you. So 2018 World Cup, they brought a young player in, right? and they were hoping for him to develop into the next star of the Australian team. You probably heard of his name, Daniel Arzani, right? Yeah. Where is he now? Yeah. We watched him at the Olympics. I watched him play last year at the Olympics, and I've never seen a worse performance from a forward in Australia. And there's some pretty bad forwards in Australia. I honestly think some people down in my local park could play better than him. Like, he's fallen off that much. But the question is Marco Tilio going to follow the same way, Jackson? That's
I guess here's the thing. I don't rate him as much as you do, but if any player's going to have an individual moment and give us something to celebrate in this World Cup, then I guess a player like him is the only way we're going to do it, because as a team, we don't play well enough. But a single player that could create something and give us something to celebrate, I reckon he can do it. Tilio could do it. Yeah. Because he's quick. He's good with his feet. As a team player, he's not, I don't rate him, but
say his problem is, especially me and Jackson watched the Japan game together, right? And he come on, I think it was mid to late second half, and had one good run at the start, and then he was just hanging in his wing position the whole time.
Didn't really track back or engage, try and build up play in the middle third.
Made like 2 runs in that whole time he was on. Like he wasn't really doing much. So that's I think his downfall is. I don't know if he's told to stay in his position or he thinks it's better to stay in his position, but you can see that sometimes the motivation to get the ball isn't there. It's not like, the Timmy Cahills, and it's not like some of the other players in the Premier League as well, that they go out there hunting for the ball. He's just, I'll wait for the ball to come.
I think Arnold probably needs to have a word with him, or if he's going to use him, he's got to find a better way to integrate him with team play rather than just have him sit out and sort of watch the game, which basically what he did for Japan. But I mean, we'll do a more in-depth look at the Australian team closer to November, when we can put together a starting 11 and try and figure out how we'd even approach a game against France or Denmark. I'm not very optimistic. I think I was much more optimistic in 2018, honestly. And this is even like, it's a pretty similar group, but I think I was more naive in 2018. Now I've matured. I understand that we're terrible. So
I've been understanding that for years.
I mean, we'll see at the end of the day, but I've got no real hopes. I mean, Matt, we get to the round of 16 or whatever. That's a good time. We'd call it quits there, I imagine. Yeah.
Well, the question is, who do you get when you get to the round of 16? Second, you're playing most likely someone from the first place of one of the groups. What group do you get? Because I think we're Group D. I think it is. Do we play England, who might finish first in Group A? Do we play who's in another group, maybe Croatia, who might finish first in their group, or Belgium, who might finish first in their group?
But that's what I mean. No matter, like, any team that finishes first or second, and I mean, we'll play a first place team because we are going to finish second in the group if we're lucky.
There is no way we top this group.
Yeah,
people can clip this right now. I don't care. There's no way. We top this group.
Any team that we face in the round of 16 will beat us hands down, without any issue. So I think if Australia can even get to the round of 16, that'll be one of the best experiences we could ever wish for, if I'm honest with you. But if we can, even if we have a moment in the group, like a 3-2 loss against Denmark, at least it was entertaining on the way out. Like, that's where I am right now in terms of my pessimism. But I don't know what your thoughts on. Like, I haven't heard anything from you that sounds like you're optimistic about our odds with this group.
Mate, I lost hope for Australia. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I lost hope for Australia years ago.
But we beat UAE like 2-1 in normal time, not even extra time.
UAE, really? Like, there are so many other countries than UAE. That's not something to brag about. We beat UAE. Macedonia has something to brag about, even though it hurts my heart. they knocked Italy out of the World Cup, and everyone's been saying, "Oh yeah, Macedonia knocked us out. Australia is better than Italy. We made it to the World Cup." How many World Cups does Australia have?
But Italy didn't make it to the World Cup, buddy. So
Italy can't hear from the 4 World Cups we've got. So.
Oh well, all right, fair. All right. Well, if Australia aren't going to do anything, keep an eye out. I reckon we'll do some other videos on some other teams in this World Cup who will be worth watching and might go somewhere.
England.
Even Wales. Wales are a team to watch, I reckon, for this competition. They haven't been in this for 60 years, and I don't think they're going to get thrown out of the groups. I think they will qualify, go through to the knockout rounds, and it could be like one of those games how Japan got through in 2018 and almost beat Belgium in the rounds. Be one of those games that Wales provides. So keep an eye on them.
We could also talk about the potential final of Argentina-Portugal versus Ronaldo in their last World Cup potential final. I mean, see, I look at it this way, and I know I've been talking about Italy a lot this video, even though it's an Australian video. But just look at it this way, right? Italy let Ronaldo go to his last World Cup, right? We let him go in for his last World Cup. We let Messi win another trophy for Argentina at the start of this month, right? In the Finissima.
Yeah.
And we also beat England in the Euros. So we helped 2 people out and we silenced all the England fans. So I think it's a win-win-win for Italy. We make everyone happy, okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
But I do think we need to talk about the possibility of having a Portugal-Argentina final, because soccer fans will go crazy. The 2 current goats of soccer world, Messi and Ronaldo, going at one last-ditch effort to win a World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, I reckon we'll do one full video predicting every group and then like a final, but I can't lie, that would be a fascinating final. Do I think Argentina are good enough to get to the final? Yes. Do I think Portugal are? No.
Yeah, I was about to say, look, Argentina, they could make it, but Portugal, I'm not quite too sure.
I'd expect it could even be like a repeat. It could be an Argentina-Germany or something like that. It could be.
Could be Croatia. You can't count out Croatia. I mean, I think they've got Belgium and they've got Canada in their group as well. A lot of people have been saying Canada, underdog team, but I've been hearing a lot of stuff that some of the Canadian players are pulling out of the World Cup as well, because they're not getting the Canadian national team isn't paying them as much as what they thought they'd pay for the World Cup.
I don't know if Canada's going to be a team to watch, but it'll be worth seeing.
Our MIA third co-host Anthony reckons Canada's going to be a surprise shock.
Oh well,
he's got
so Canada are going to get knocked out in the group stage. Okay, all right.
Yeah. But Anthony's not here to back up his views, so we can shrug that off for now.
All right, is it? Well, that's coming to the end of our time. So as you can see, high hopes for Australia at this coming World Cup. So going to win the whole thing. Really. For now, that's not what's important though. The moral of the story is, we don't care whether we win a competition. We just care that we get nice snapshots of Redmayne and some funny moments along the way. It's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
The grey wiggle. We just need to see a game go to penalties so he can do his dance again in the goal mouth.
I think teams will smash us 3-0 to make sure they don't have to see that. I think that's probably how they're going to go on that one.
I don't know. Imagine if Tunisia's game goes to an extra time.
Oh, great! Fantastic.
We're saying Tunisia might smack them and get 3-0 or 3 points, but could imagine it goes to extra time, then it goes to penalty shootouts, and we see Redmayne get brought in for Matt Ryan.
God damn! I highly doubt this outcome. Redmayne, next time, buddy. All right. Well, we've been us. You've been you. We're going to sign off, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Catches.